To add a venue, you need to add the course categories, locations, providers, venue description, and finally enter these into the venue details. The first step is the course categories. To do the categories, the locations, and providers, we need to make sure the options permissions are correctly set up. So we go into the Setup tab, look at permissions, filter by options, and make sure that you have your role has the options to be able to, or rather have permissions to be able to edit options. So in here we're going to add, edit, manage, and remove permissions, giving those to the role. We have to make sure we log out and log back in again, so those permissions that we've just applied are actually applied to our login. And now we've got to go through and we've got to add in some course categories. So we go up to the Publish tab, into Options, go through the various buttons that are there available to us, and we're looking for the tree button. View these options using a tree. So here we've got the tree. You can see there's little plus signs on the left hand side there that can open these out. We're going to add a new option, new course category before this node, and that's going to enable us to have another set of course categories available when we create our venues. We're going to add a child to that new course category we created called Basics. Make sure that the status is set to active. Explain the includer name shortly. And you open that up, and now we can include after this node. Once we've got a child there, we can include before or after the node and extend out the course categories. This is active again, and now we've got 2 extra course categories there, basic and advanced. You'll notice in the course categories when it comes in lists, notice how first aid has our first aid before it, first aid basics, but the emergency response doesn't. That's about the includer name. So we're going to go back into the course categories, into the tree view, and we're going to edit the top level there and tick the includer name, and then it'll have a little N beside it at the beginning. That means that the name is being included in those children below it. So we go back to creating content. It will show you the drop down there. There we go. The emergency response now has emergency response basic, emergency response advanced. Next is to add locations. We do the same thing in options. So we go to the Publish tab, go into the Options button. We want to go to locations and again edit or view the options by tree view. And you'll see Australia there has Queensland and then Brisbane. So Brisbane, Queensland, Australia is the nesting. And we're going to add after this node, so we're going to add another before this node rather, add another state, New South Wales. Again, make it active, add that in there, and then we're going to create a child of New South Wales, namely that'll be the city Sydney. Again, make it active. And we're going to edit New South Wales to add in this includer name options. We're going to tick that, save that, and we'll show you how that's displayed. If we were to add new content and look at location, you'll see there that it says Sydney, New South Wales, but does not say Brisbane, Queensland. So if we go back to our options and edit using the tree mode again, you'll see there we can edit Queensland. We can tick that box, include a name, and that will enable us to have the Brisbane, Queensland display of that particular location. So there we can see it there. Next step is to add providers. Now adding providers again is just the same. We go into options, go to course providers, edit tree view. There's a number of different options along there that we can use. Tree view is the most useful, I find. And that will allow us to add another course. Not all licenses have this ability to add providers, but if you do, then you can actually sell courses for other training companies. can be very useful. We actually set up venues on a per provider basis, so different providers can have different venues. And it's only one level, so we don't add children when it comes to course providers. Next step is to add the venue description. We're going to use the Publish Content feature. So we'll go to the Publish tab, and we'll go on to Content and add some content around a venue description. This venue description can be used in emails, it can be used in PDFs, it can be displayed on the website, depending on how you're going to integrate with Course Sales. So we're entering in the name of the venue. We can choose a course category if we wish to, or a location. Those are options. Also, you can choose a provider. This means that we only display the venues that are appropriate for, or venue descriptions that are appropriate for that particular provider or course category. We're going to enter a label and make sure the status is active. We've copied some content onto the clipboard, so we're going to paste that in here. You can see you can include bolding and various other HTML formatting techniques. I'm going to add that. So that's our venue description created. Now we can add the venue details. We've done everything, all the preparation. Go in to venues, create a new venue. And one of the important things is we have to link the venue description to this venue that we're creating. So we add it in there. Add in a room number, floor, street address, a location. We type in the first 3 letters of the location, the drop down box will start working and display some information for you. Make sure the time zone is set correctly. Set up a website link. You can also include latitude and longitude that will enable you to create Google links to using Google Maps. And you can use those to create, embed those maps as well. Now notice you have to create the provider. You have to include a provider in there. Make sure you include a provider for each venue. And once you've added that, you can then go in and edit that venue and link it to a venue description. This will enable us to, so there we go, got 2 in there, add that venue description, and that's our venue set up, so you can start using it on your courses. Hope you enjoyed that.